This is the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abich, founder of Abich Financial Services.
So you want to retire in 2026? Well, then you might want to do or make these 7 financial moves. Glad to have you here with us on the Retirement Key. This is financial advisor Abe Abich, founder of Abich Financial Services. I'm Heather Branch, and if you have questions for Abe and his team, they're here for you to help you find some answers, and you can find us anytime. The Retirement Key is our website. We also have links posted in the show notes. So, Abe, 2026 has already brought to us lots of headlines, lots of market turmoil. We're only a few weeks into the new year. However, folks still want to retire in 2026. And so I found this list was posted up on gobankingrates.com talking about 7 financial moves to make, 7 money moves to make if you want to retire in 2026. And this was actually, it was pulled together, this list of financial planners, people, your peers in the industry. So that's why I wanted to ask you to go through this list and tell us your thoughts on if you agree and maybe things to add in your opinion. So what are your thoughts here about moves to make in 2026 if you want to retire this year?
That's right. There's a lot going on, and there's always going to be headlines out there. But you know what? People are still retiring successfully in 2026, and that's what we want to focus on, focusing on your own retirement plan. So 7 retirement moves to think about, maybe to incorporate in your plan in 2026. Number 1, don't rely on outdated rules. As an example, the 4% rule. So the 4% rule, when we talk about that to our clients, it's just a rule of thumb, but not something you need to follow to a T. In fact, instead of static rules, retirees typically need and want flexibility because when you think about it, your retirement spending is not going to go straight in a straight line linear for the rest of your life. Oh, in your go-go years, maybe that first 10 years of retirement, it's going to be the most. Maybe drop down some in your 70s and 80s, and then maybe go back up again in your later years. But the flexibility provides for planning around markets, around taxes, around withdrawals, and all these things. Don't stick to outdated rules. Number 2, shift away from investing or pure investing to income planning. Think about it. When you have retired, your paycheck has stopped. Now you need to generate income from your portfolio.
Right.
And this might be the first time in your lives that you've ever done that. In fact, people can be really intimidated when they don't have a plan because all they've ever known is saving and accumulating and socking money away into their 401ks and IRAs. And now for the first time in their lives, they're actually having to get their hands in these accounts for income as their paychecks have ended. So the focus needs to shift or move from pure accumulation to distribution. You want to map out your income sources. That might be Social Security, annuities, stock income, rental income, really thinking about your retirement paycheck and where all that income is going to come from.
Sure.
Not coordinating a withdrawal order, not coordinating where all this income is going to come from can create for inefficiencies, especially when it comes to taxes, which is why having a comprehensive plan, not just to focus on the investments and the rate of return, is so important.
Got it.
We want to balance growth, liquidity, and debt. Look, if we're just focused on pure growth and maybe just a 10% return or whatever it is you think is a stellar return, 15% or whatever it is, which is high, and if you're shooting for those returns, be prepared for downturns. If we're just thinking about growth, we're really missing the ball here. So we want to balance growth, liquidity, and debt. Carrying too much debt is risky. Obviously, if you can, you want to try to pay down personal loans and credit cards and all these things. Mortgage debt can be good debt that we can leverage, but also keeping too little cash. I mean, leading up to retirement in those first few years of retirement, it's good to have some cash reserves. It can help with tax liabilities, Roth conversions, travel, transitionings, right sizing, right? Like getting out of your primary home, maybe selling that, getting into a new home of your dreams for full retirement. Cash reserves can really help with that. And then the plan for the withdrawals coming from all the different accounts is, again, very, very important.
Okay.
Number 4, build a war chest of cash reserves and safe money. When we say safe money, we mean typically money that's not in the stock market that has downside loss attached to it.
Yeah.
Safer monies are going to be monies that have principal protection. You can think of, some of those instruments. It might be treasuries, CDs, fixed rate annuities, fixed index annuities. Maybe there's principal protected structured notes, but instruments and vehicles that can give you downside protection, especially in that first 5 to 7 years of retirement. These are the first handful of years in which you will be withdrawing money out of your nest egg. And if the markets are down anytime in those first 5 to 7 years and you're withdrawing at the same time, you have what's called sequence risk or sequence of returns risk, which can create a double negative. So you're withdrawing out of your portfolio. That might be 3, 4, 5%. Then the stock market throws you a negative 10, negative 15. You might be down 20% in a year, down 15% in a year. And what if that happens 2 or 3 years in a row? It can really, really hurt portfolio value. So number 4, build a war chest. That's not only cash reserves, but safer money is built into the portfolio to help you with downturns, especially early into retirement.
Okay.
Number 5, prepare for taxes, healthcare, and longevity. Taxes will probably be most Americans' biggest expense in retirement. So it's one thing to have your 3, 4, 5 million saved or whatever it is, your number that you need saved to retire successfully. It's another thing to have those monies in the right buckets and allocated the right way, not just in different investments, but in different tax buckets. There's a reason why Roth conversions are such a hot topic right now and have been over the last handful of years. We're in a pretty fair tax environment in our opinions. Taxes will probably only go up over your lifetime, probably.
Okay.
And if they went up for you and you can handle some of the tax share now, pay some of the tax liability now on pre-taxed accounts and get those into Roths, that could be something to look at. Healthcare. If you're retiring before 65, you're probably going to need to get on some type of healthcare plan. At 65, we can hop on Medicare. You might want to look at a supplement or two, Part B, Part D for prescriptions and things like that. And finally, incapacity. I mentioned longevity, but I meant incapacity. And what that means is,
well, that's part of longevity, right? Yeah.
And it can be part of longevity.
Yeah.
But we do really need a plan for this. And the longer we live, Heather, the greater there is the chance there is for a healthcare event to happen, and that we would need care in our own home, an adult daycare facility, or a nursing home. And Medicare doesn't pay for that. So we either have to have our own money where we self-insure and we invest for the long term to cover those needs, healthcare needs down the road, and or maybe have some type of insurance plan, long-term care insurance or life insurance with living benefits, or a combination of self-insuring, investing, and some insurance. Number 6, ideally, you want to rehearse retirement before it begins. On past podcasts, we talk about clients that we've actually helped here at Abich Financial, and ideally a client or a prospective client is coming in 3 to 5 years before retirement. Why? Well, we typically meet with our clients 3 to 4 times a year. And if we can have 10, 12 or more planning meetings before you retire, we've rehearsed as many of the outcomes as possible.
Okay.
What that's going to give you is added clarity and confidence to pull the trigger and retire successfully or with as much success as possible versus putting together a plan maybe 3 months or a year before you retire or when you're already in retirement. Sure, we can help you, but you're already there, right? So all we have is what you have to work with at that time. Mm-hmm. Finally, to retire successfully in 2026, you want a checklist, right? Just like you would have at work, just like you would have at home. You want a checklist to make sure you're checking off every single box to build out a comprehensive plan. Some of those things on that checklist, obviously you want to make sure what income's coming in. You want to have a good idea of your expenses. You want to have a tax plan for Roth conversions, if those make sense for you, tax strategy, Social Security and Medicare, a liquidity plan we talked about where you've got cash reserves and some safe money for that first 5 to 7 years, updated estate plan and beneficiaries. As we get older, people are born and pass away, and we don't want outdated beneficiary, designations on our hard-earned life savings.
Because something I learned recently is that beneficiary designations on the documents will trump a will. If you've written in a will that you leave something, but the beneficiary has not been updated on the document, the will gets tossed out. That was an aha moment for me. How the power of proper
really important
beneficiary documents. Make sure those are up to date. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I see people come in, Heather, that have gotten divorced and they haven't changed. They haven't updated their designations in years, and their ex-wife or ex-husband,
ex-spouses will get the money. We'll get the old 401k that your new spouse does not get.
And most people that are divorced don't want that to happen. So we want to make sure everything's up to date. And finally, as part of that checklist, you really want to think about building out a lifestyle plan. What is it in retirement that's going to keep you busy? What is it for you in retirement that's going to give you purpose? It's going to allow you to live your life with purpose and fulfillment. A lot of people will not retire until they have that figured out. They know they have the money, but they don't want to retire and become super bored and sit on the couch and have nothing to do.
Yep.
But in fact, most of our clients are more busy in retirement because they're living life on purpose and with fulfillment. So building out that lifestyle plan in connection with this comprehensive retirement plan we talk about week in and week out is also very important.
All right, quick recap. Moves to make if you want to retire in 2026. 1, don't rely on outdated rules. Do you want to run through these again? Or, you do the list. You run through it again for everybody.
Yeah.
So
number one, don't rely on outdated rules. Number 2, shift from investing to income planning. Number 3, balance growth, liquidity, and debt. Number 4, build a war chest. Number 5, prepare for taxes, healthcare, and incapacity. Number 6, rehearse retirement before it begins. Number 7, build out a lifestyle plan.
Number 8, pick up Abe's book because it's a great tool to have in your toolbox as far as getting started. And a lot of people just don't know where to begin when it comes to figuring out how to build out their own retirement plan. So Abe's been helping folks retire, has been in the financial industry for going on 2 decades now. So obviously has a lot of insight. He took the time to write it down in his book and is just doing whatever he can to get it in your hands. So ways to get the book, you can go to Amazon to purchase the hard copy or the audio version, but you can get the copy for free if you come in for a meeting at the Abish Financial Services offices. We'll give you a copy that way. You can download a free PDF version. We've got links to all of those things, ways to get your hands on Abe's book, The Retirement Mountain, The 7 Steps to a Long-Lasting Retirement, an easy read, about 100 pages. You can read it on a Saturday afternoon and get going on figuring out how to put everything together in a plan for what's hopefully going to be a happy, healthy retirement is what Abe and his team are here to help you with. So visit us at theretirementkey.com to begin that conversation. You can also click on the links we got posted in the show notes.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abich. To learn more about Abish Financial Services, visit theretirementkey.com and join Abe for his radio show, The Retirement Key, Saturdays at 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 8 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. Abish Financial Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor with the SEC. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training, and the content of this communication has not been approved or verified by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission or by any state securities authority. The information contained in this material is intended to provide general information about Abish Financial Wealth Management and its services. It is not intended to offer investment advice. Investment advice will only be given after a client engages our services by executing the appropriate investment services agreement. Information regarding investment products and services are provided solely to read about our investment philosophy and our strategies.